iPhone 15 Pro versus Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus speed test. Let's go ahead and begin with a boot up in 3, 2, go and see which one can get there first. Now, iPhone 15 Pro starts at $999. This one also $999, although you can get it discounted, massive trade-in values. You probably will never pay that full price, but more than likely you're paying top dollar for the iPhone. The iPhone does turn on faster than the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus, and it does have the new A17 Pro chip. The S23 Plus has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and this one over here also has 8 gigabytes of RAM. They did reduce the bezels, but I found that kind of funny because the S23 line already had those reduced bezels. In addition to that, they both have a matte textured back, both very light, and it's funny enough that the iPhone is a little bit lighter than this, but they feel almost the same weight. So you get a bigger screen, cheaper price with discounts, and you get, about the same weight with the S23 Plus. That doesn't mean to pick that one, but it's a really good value is what I'm saying. And the 15 Pro is a nice lightweight design update. So in terms of the software and how smooth they are, they're both about the same. We do have ourselves the One UI October patch right here. So let's go to software update here. Look at the last update. And you'll see we're on the October patch of One UI 5.1. Now I'm waiting for One UI 6 official. I'm not running beta on here. And we do have the latest update that just dropped yesterday on a 15 Pro, iOS 17.1. So go get that update if you haven't done that already. Now both of these do have adaptive refresh rates. So both are very smooth and you're probably not going to see any difference in this respect. The Samsung S23 Plus has been one of the smoothest Android phones this year. The whole entire S23 line, they knocked it out of the park, and it continues to perform well. This was a great year for Samsung phones, especially if you cared a lot about performance and having some of the smoothest phones that don't really get too hot. This actually has better thermals to me than the iPhone 15 Pro over here, and this phone came out several months ago. So we're going to do something different in this speed test. Like I said before, I've already done this one time, but we're going to run benchmarks first. Let's go ahead and run the Geekbench 6 test here on both of them. You've seen that the S23 Plus launched it first. I'm going to run the CPU benchmark on these phones right here, and I'll be back when they're done. I don't know why that one was lagging up a little bit, but I'll be back when they're done with their benchmark results, and we'll see if this makes any difference. So we're not like launching all the apps first and doing all the RAM stuff. We'll see if this makes any difference in the score. And so our final Geekbench scores are in, and you could see a 2950 on the single core. That's almost 1,000 points better than the Samsung on single, but about 2,000 points better on the multi-core score. So as expected, they do perform better, probably prior to our app test. You'll see I'm getting great scores on both, averaging better than the regular, better than the averages on both of them. So both very good. But these scores never really predict the real world performance, what you actually experience. But if you want to get technical here, the iPhone does have the powerful chip. Let's go into start. However, this chip, while it's super powerful, if you're playing a game for a long time, it can throttle due to heat that builds up. But a lot of the heat things were fixed in prior iOS updates. I will say yesterday I was running Call of Duty and it was toasty on my iPhone 15 Pro, even with 17.0.3 and 17.1, which I downloaded after I was playing Call of Duty. So, the phone can still get toasty. I'll be back when they're done with the 3D Mark results here. And so here are our final Wildlife Extreme scores. You can see very close here with a 3 FPS advantage to the iPhone 15 Pro. Let me feel the warmth. Both of them pretty similar here in how warm they feel. 18.85 FPS over here, 21.2. So technically the iPhone should perform a little better than this S23 Plus, but very, very little. You'll see 82% better than other devices, 76%. But you can see they both have around the same thin bezels. They both have, pretty nice screens, but the Samsung is larger. So there's still advantages regardless of benchmarks being better on the iPhone to the Samsung, but there's also advantages to the iPhone over to Samsung. It really just depends on what you want. Okay, guys, so here we are. Everything is closed out for both phones. We're going to see which one does better in the performance department here in the app test. So let's go into calendar. think the animation was a little faster on the Samsung. On the right, let's head up out of there. Let's go into clock. That was a Samsung. Now, coming home, I think the animation looks better on the iPhone. You could see right here, it just looks a little smoother. Let's go into weather. I think that was the iPhone. I could be wrong. Let's get up out of there. Let's go into calculator. That was very tough. I'd have to slow that one down. I think the Samsung has the faster fly-in. Let's go into Play Store, App Store. Yep, that's Samsung all day. We'll go into apps here, games. And the Play Store used to be slower than the App Store, but these days, there's not a great deal of difference in their speed differences. I think I have True Tone on here. The screen's looking a little yellow. Let me head that off, turn that off. Let's go into Groupon. You can see Groupon is going to go first to, I think, the right categories. That's the right things to do. That's the Samsung. So you can see that even though those benchmark scores were higher on the iPhone, certain things are still going to launch faster on a Samsung. Let's go into Twitter or X, and certain things are going to launch faster on the iPhone. These are really neck and neck phones. Profile. But you get a screen that's more close to the 15 Pro Max for the price of a 15 Pro. Let's go into Instagram. And I think that was a Samsung maybe. These are very close, man, honestly. I think Twitter didn't launch on the... Yeah, it didn't load properly here on this phone. So let me make sure that's loaded for the reload. Let's go into Amazon here. You can see that was faster on the Samsung. And scrolling super fast scroll on the Samsung. And somebody said, you don't have to scroll like that. That's true. You could just scroll slower to get that same effect as the iPhone. And yes, you can. You could just scroll slower, but if you want to scroll, it's blazing. Let's go into Starbucks. That was about even. Set up out of here. Dead trigger 2. So iPhone typically takes the lead. You know what? That was not going to be fair. It's asking me for notifications. Let's do that again. And we'll see what happens here. Yeah, a little faster on iPhone there. I will say, though, that I'm going to take the Samsung here because I get the bigger screen with the punch hole, which is basically more enjoyable for a larger gaming experience. I think there's also a larger battery in the S23 Plus. But man, is the iPhone with its ProMotion, it's a smooth gamer too. So you'll be happy either way. But you'll definitely always want a bigger phone for gaming, I would say. Let's go into Subway Surfers. And let's see, iPhone launches this first, or is this going to be... Nope, it's iPhone. Let's hit tap to play. But these are only like milliseconds, though, difference. So, you know, if you thought that the 15 Pro was just taking down the S23 Plus, think again. This is an underrated phone. People don't really talk about the S23 Plus because the S23 Ultra is the king. It takes the limelight, and the regular S23 is the phone that most people think of. You know, even the Pro Max is more popular than the regular Pro every year, and so is the base 15, because people don't think 15 Pro all the time. They just think 15 or the Max. Which one is it? Maybe Apple should just do one beast and one regular phone. I don't know. Let's hit play. Probably not. People are going to be like, no, I want to keep my Pros. I'm just messing, you know. We're just having a chit chat today. They're not going to just get rid of the Pro. It's not happening. But you can see maybe the Pro will get bigger in the future. It'll probably go up to like 6.3 inches. Let's go into PUBG because the Pro has been this 6.1 inch for a while. It's been the 6.1 inch for a while. So I would like to see Apple take the size up a little bit. They can keep the lightweight with the titanium, but let's go up a little bit in the size here. Some people are probably gonna be like, no, I don't want them to go up in the size. These phones are already as big enough as it is. But at the same time, I think that was Samsung that launched that first. Could have been Apple. Let's go into Geekbench 6, and you'll see faster on the right. And that's because Geekbench 6 is never optimized properly, like for the launch when they first come out. And we'll see my results here, my tests. Man, Samsung has many They've had many months to update the S23 Plus, and it performs like a champ. You can see these phones were just like even, almost all the way across the board. We only had like a very tiny difference between applications. So Apple, we already expect them to perform like that because they're pretty lightweight software, but Samsung has been impressive this year with the S23, S23 Plus, and Ultra, and it continues here to go toe-to-toe with the latest version of the iPhone. This only makes me excited for the S24 Plus next year. All right, so let's go. Oh, I didn't even open iMovie. That doesn't count. Let's go into camera here, and we'll do the animations. Now, the big thing I like about animations, I'm going to show you this. You can see it's just butter right there on the iPhone. That's the best thing I like, and it's more of a perception thing. It's something you feel more than you see so much. I mean, granted, you could probably see it on camera, but it's definitely something you feel more day to day. It just feels great. So still, there is no phone I've tried that has matched it yet. Google Pixel is pretty close, but as well as some of the OnePlus animations, but Samsung not quite just yet. Let's go to Dead Trigger 2. That's reloading. Was that a reload? Yeah, that was a reload. I'm not even paying attention. That was a reload right there. Amazon reloading. What the heck? Ooh, hold on. This is not looking great for S23 Plus on this reload. It could be closing apps in the background. I'm not exactly sure if I have that feature on. I doubt it. Let's go over here to the battery protection and memory. See what's popping over here. Do we have virtual? Let's see, we have RAM Plus on 8 gigs. Excluded apps. Apps not used recently. Yeah, it doesn't look like. Oh, it says right here for memory. No, it doesn't look like I have anything on that would, I don't know why it was doing that. A couple of applications closed out. So, well, not closed out. They reloaded. So the iPhone did a little bit better there. But talking about the animations, you could see Samsung is good, but they're not as smooth. You could see it's not as smooth. Watch this. It's just not as smooth just yet, but we're gonna have to see how it does on One UI 6. But some people are gonna say it doesn't matter. Hey, the truth is, I'm just saying it, just a perception, just how it feels. So I got my Android man here. I broke his antennas, but we're gonna go ahead and test the camera. He actually fell off the table, so that's why his antennas are broken. Let's go over here and hit the photo. You could see both of them very good, guys. Camera, you're not gonna have no issues. Apple does bring the action button to the iPhone, which can silence it. But if you go into settings here, scroll down on your iPhone 15 Pro, you'll see right here you can set it to camera, and now you could just open that like that. So that gives them nice competition to Samsung, where you can just double tap like that to open the camera. Which one is faster? That's going to be debatable. Let's go ahead and try it. Let's see if we could do a little test to see which one's faster. Action button versus the double tap. 3, 2, go. It's pretty close, so it's not a major difference on either. So that's pretty good. So wrapping it up, I would say the iPhone is slightly still smoother than the S23 Plus. It's still a little bit faster from a technical standpoint. But the Samsung takes way better advantage of the screen space. Has this rotation landscape. It has pop view split screen, and it gives you a bigger screen for the same money. And it's only a little bit slower, not a lot slower. And I think it stays a little cooler to touch under heavier usage. Plus it has a bigger battery, so it lasts longer throughout the day. So I think in a lot of areas, the Samsung is the better value. But if you want the sheer better performance, probably longer term software, more consistent, reliable updates, the iPhone 15 Pro takes down the S23 Plus. So let me know your thoughts on these two. Which one would you pick? Would you pick the 15 Pro or the S23 Plus? Comment that down below in the comments section of this video. If you found it helpful, entertaining, and informative, click the like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.